Dr. Neera Dhar. She has done his MS from University of Harvard, USA, PhD from Kashmir University and MPhil from Kashmir University. Presently, she is working as a professor and head at the National Institute of Family Welfare, Department of Education and Training, and also the nodal officer of the distance learning cell of the National Institute of Family and Education. She is also teaching and guiding the students for MD and BHA. She has designed, organized and conducted numerous training programs in spiritual health, training methodology, training skills, so many of these. So because of paucity of time, I am skipping over to the this and just few which is breakthrough research has done in pioneer work in the area of spiritual health, measuring the 4 dimensions of the health. She has measured the 4 dimensions of the health, it is spirituality. She has written a book on stress, learn to manage it, some coping techniques to make life easier to live. She has so many publications, research and marriage. So I am skipping it. So it's over to Dr. Neera. It's all is yours.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
All is well. Pleasure to be here this afternoon, and I'm indeed delighted to have this opportunity to share with you, distinguished delegates and my dear friends. I want to put it forth very candidly that I am neither a spiritual master nor an expert on spirituality. But yes, of course, have been a passionate researcher who had the quest to evolve empirically validated determinants of spiritual health and bring spirituality to the corridors of science. By no means do I claim that this is an absolute tool of measuring spiritual health. But yes, of course, it has been a substantial progression in the domain of research on spiritual health. This scale was released by WHO, has national, international publications. The scale has been on sale from our institute, National Institute of Health and Family Welfare, New Delhi. The scale was named as SHS, Spiritual Health Scale, and my co-investigator in this study was Dr. S.K. Chaturvedi. He was supposed to be here, but he has not come. Well, friends, SHS has been the first comprehensive, standard, scientific scale on measuring spiritual health for a common worldly person like me and you. The scale has universally applicable contents. It contains humanistic perspective and is focusing on the developmental issues. SHS is religion-free and culture-free, not loaded with any particular religious beliefs or any cultural beliefs. One distinct feature of this scale is that this scale can be applied to a believer, to an atheist, and to even an agnostic. Well, construction of SHS was a journey, 8-year-long journey, so challenging, filled with conflicts, filled with struggles, but yes, very ethereal, very ecstatic, and so enjoyable. What led us? What was the rationale behind construction of this scale? As you all know, that World Health Assembly has put it forth that spiritual health should be considered as a very important element of physical health. I mean health itself. It was mentioned in 1998 and 2005. But the bigger question here is, does spirituality make a difference? Does it have any link with health? Whether it is emotional health, whether it is social health, whether it is emotional health. That's the mega question. And the answer is very clear. Yes, indeed. It has a link with health. We have empirical evidence for that. Looking at the global research studies, we see that spiritual factors in medical care are now considered as very important. 94% inpatients believe spiritual health as important as the physical health. Spirituality helps in coping to dialysis, cancer pain, well-being, physical health, assertivity, vitality, and lesser symptoms of anxiety and depression. One study from India reveals that 66% of doctors either strongly or very strongly believe spiritual dimension of health to be very important and also its role in the preventive health. Apart from that, neuropsychological basis of spirituality has been found. A spiritual center has been located in the temporal lobes, where it has been revealed that neurons are connected in 3 different types. One type is where neurons are serially connected, which indicates logical thinking. Second is where 100,000 neurons are connected to other massive bundles very haphazardly, which indicates emotionally driven habits. And the third, very interesting, is neurons in oscillations, some specific oscillations. And this study tells us that when subjects are put to experiments under spatial scans, these neural oscillations lighten up when the subjects are exposed to the topics on spirituality. Some interaction on spirituality is going on. The experimental patients are under spatial scans, and these neural oscillation areas lighten up. Now, my dear friends, what does this tell us? This tells us that there is an inner craving, a covert craving for larger meaning of our existence. With this rationale in the mind, we, the researchers, wanted to go beyond the existing health triangle, defining and measuring the 4th dimension of health, spiritual health, the 4th D. When we explored the literature, when we did the review of literature, we could find mental, social, physical determinants very clearly. But nowhere after our in-depth search, we could locate anywhere the spiritual health determinants. This study came forward and broke the ice. The mega question for us was, what is spirituality? And my dear friends and distinguished delegates of this forum, the reference here is common worldly person. We wanted to demystify spirituality. My dear friends, spirituality does not lie in running away to the forests. It does not lie in becoming a monk, becoming a sage, becoming a saint. No, it lies in being here very much. रचना को ठुकराओगे, संसार से भागे फिरते हो, भगवान को क्या तुम पाओगे? इस लोक को तुम अपना न सके, उस लोक में भी पछताओगे. So we have to be clear. It's like अपमान रचयिता का होगा. I just forgot. अपमान रचयिता का होगा रचना को अगर ठुकराओगे. So after our battle with the river of literature, with the existing spiritual health instruments available, with the concept of spiritual quotient and humanistic principles from the major religions of the world, we also had a panel of experts taking their views who were working on spiritual health and of course the contemplation of researchers. We finally came out with the operational definition of spiritual health for this particular study. Spiritual health is a state of health reflected through three domains: self-evolution, self-actualization, and transcendence. Now, they are defined. Self-evolution is defined when one achieves one's potential to the full. Self-actualization is reflected when we delve into deeper meaning, deeper purpose of the existence. And transcendence is reflected through happiness from within. SHS, Spiritual Health Scale, has three domains. We have evolved three domains, 6 constructs, 27 determinants, and 114 items on the SHS scale. It also has a scoring key. This is a flow chart which I am not going to explain here. This was the technical scientific process that we had followed throughout the research period. But here I would like to mention that this scale has been validated on urban educated adults, and the sampling procedure was a stratified random sampling. This is how it looks. This is the profile of SHS. Self-evolution, which is qualified further by 2 constructs, 14 determinants, and 61 items. Self-actualization has 2 constructs, 9 determinants, and 42 items. Transcendence has 2 constructs, 4 determinants, and 11 items. You know what is very significant to see here is, as we move from self-evolution to self-actualization to transcendence, the items are getting reduced, and we have been able to establish it statistically. This entire procedure, entire data was put through a very rigorous statistical analysis. Based on that statistical analysis, we claim that this scale has test-retest reliability, which has been established at 95% level of confidence, talking statistically. This scale has 3 types of validity: content validity, convergent validity, and content validity, convergent, and construct validity, which has been established through again a rigorous procedure in statistics, which is called factor analysis. Coming to what we have now on the scale, the spiritual health determinants, which are measured through 114 items on the scale. The first determinant, involvement with detachment, working and thinking about self. I would like to explain this determinant that we have evolved statistically through a parable from Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansaji's. It's a parable from him. Imagine that we have a 24-hour maid in our house who is so devoted, who is so dedicated, so honest, so affectionate, doing all the chores. Yet she knows this is not my home. My existence in this home is just transitory. I have to go. My home lies there on the mountain top of some tribal area. Dur gagan ki chhav mein. I think that should suffice what I want to say. But it requires internal locus of control, some psychological, mental engineering, some software architecture. Determinant number 2, delving into the deeper meaning of life. Why we are born? Why this existence? What is the purpose? What after all? Where are we going? Delving into the deeper meaning, the ultimate purpose of life involves speculation and contemplation. And the story doesn't end there. We have to carve out a path for ourselves which gives us personal meaning and personal purpose of our existence. Value for time. The problem is back and forth, and we have a fall. Awaken to this moment. This is the only reality. Live in this moment. Act in this moment. Here and now. कल किसने देखा है, कल किसने जाना है, इस पल से पाएगा जो तुझको पाना है. Focusing on now. Creativity. Contributing to the ever-flowing stream of human culture. That doesn't mean we have to be Albert Einstein and give E is equal to mc square. No. Contributing in small way, contributing in big way through brainstorming, extensive brainstorming, thinking out of box. Now we don't even talk out of box, we talk now without boxes. Ideational fluency, doing something new, be it small or be it big, but contributing to this existence. Oh, these are the 4 fatal diseases. I am really scared of all the 4. Ego, jealousy, unhealthy competitions, and greed. Now, neutralizing all the 4. In our scale, we have captured all the 4 along with one more parameter, which is love. Purity and genuineness in the love, and which controls ego and jealousy. Love, which is genuine, naturally neutralizes ego and jealousy. Now, for example, there's somebody who's more capable than me, who has a set of abilities which I don't have. When I go and compliment him or her, I fall in love with myself because I become spiritually elated when I praise somebody. So we need to shower praise without being frugal. Unhealthy competitions. I have to realize, we all have to realize that we are unique, distinct. Everybody is different. Please respect the idiosyncrasies, the distinctiveness of each individual. Coming to greed, I would like to say here that when we talk of greed, there's no harm in acquiring wealth. Osho had 90 Rolls-Royce cars. Nothing wrong, we can possess 100. Nothing wrong. But what is important here is how much of ego, how much of deception, how much of jealousy, how much of exploitation it involves, that is questionable. And I'm reminded of a quote from Sri Aurobindo Ghosh. All wealth and property belongs to the divine. We are only the trustees. Cultivating such type of attitude for neutralizing these dangerous diseases for which there is no doctor available on Earth, nor on the moon. That is why I put them on Mars. Maybe there's a healer on Mars. Extension of self. Extending self. Developing close relationships. Nurturing them. Giving help. Having the humility to take help. having the humility to ask help. And this determinant from our SHS, from our scale, has been validated beautifully by a study by Robert Baldinger. It's a 75-year-old, 75-year-long longitudinal study on happiness. Your kind attention, sir. Your kind attention, sir.
Yes, I noticed.
Robert Baldinger studied 75-year longitudinal study on happiness. And you know what he came out with? That supports us here. He came out that good relations make us healthier and happier. And it's not a joke, 75. They have been following these subjects for 75 years. This reminds me of our old joint family system. Well, with those relationships and managing jealousy, ego, everything, now the time comes to question injustice. Tolerating injustice is not spiritual, but here the approach has to be not passive-aggressive, not submissive, not aggressive, but assertive. So through assertive approach, we are questioning injustice. Laughter. Life is a joke, a cosmic joke. Quoting Osho, he says seriousness is a disease. It's indeed a disease. Cheerfulness is a spiritual quality. Gloom, sadness, they don't qualify spirituality. And it has been well known as Hasi Yoga. And there is a lot of research now being done on laughter, which shows its relationship with creativity. But it doesn't have to be superficial. It has to be a deep belly laughter. Aesthetics, indulge in poetry, indulge in music, dance, sculpture. It's very therapeutic. It's kind of meditation and yoga when you're singing. There have been studies on music to tell us, even on Indian classical music, that how they cure diseases. Empirical evidence for that. How music can cure diseases. Poetry, lyrics, research done on that also, but not the kind of poetry that we have in the contemporary India. I was thinking, if somebody writes for me, I'll be so upset. Lines from a song, the lover is praising his beloved. Khambe jaisi khadi hai, ladki hai ya chali hai. So I was reminded, Chaudhary ka chand ho ya aftab ho, ye kahan se kahan aa gaye, what kind of poetry is this? फूलों की रानी बहारों की मलिका, what happened, खंबे जैसे खड़ी. Then another song, very upsetting. जब तक समोसे में रहेगा आलू, तब तक रहेगी तू मेरी शाम. तो I thought न चांद होगा, न तारे होंगे, हम सदा तुम्हारे होंगे, तो हम कहाँ से कहाँ आ गए. So I'm talking of poetry, which is very beautiful, which is sensitive. Introspection, self-discovery, self-reflection, looking into within, looking into unconscious. Sigmund Freud's unconscious, when he says that conscious mind is only tip of an iceberg. He was the father of psychology and psychoanalysis. That conscious mind is just the tip of the iceberg. So we are missing a lot. So we need to look into our covert self. Our capacities are tremendous. Our potential is unlimited, but of course we can also look into the suppressed feelings, desires, complexes. Introspection is important to know yourself and work on that. Again, we have been able to capture it scientifically on the spiritual health scale. Commitments, not running away from the commitments, not running away from the responsibilities, be it personal, be it professional, be it social, and the higher responsibilities towards existence that we have. And also stop the blaming other game. Empathy, compassion, forgiveness, selfless action. About empathy, I am reminded of Viktor Frankl. when he came out of a Nazi concentration camp, at one midnight, he receives a call from a lady. Doctor, I want to commit suicide. Now, he doesn't know what to do in the midnight, and the conversation goes on for some time. Finally, the lady tells him, okay, bye-bye, I'm going. I am committing suicide. Viktor Frankl was a neurologist, psychologist, and a psychiatrist. Next morning, when he sits in the clinic, he's there, and this lady walks. Said, oh, you're alive? What made you not to commit a suicide? He said, you. Viktor Frankl says, but I did nothing. He says, you did. At the midnight hour, you listened to me with empathy. So empathy can be like your antibiotic. Compassion, forgiveness. There are studies on forgiveness. Again, sir, referring to you refer to forgiveness. Forgiveness, 61% of cancer patients have forgiveness issues. And more than half have severe issues. But I want to tell you here, forgiveness does not mean that you are for forgiving somebody's immoral, ruthless behavior. It's not that. It's not that. But you are forgiving at a level that it serves as a catharsis for you. That's fine. He was immoral, but I'm forgiving. The study claims that it treats cancer. So what I'm imagining that it must be helping in the treatment. It reduces anger, hatred. It's reported that unforgiveness makes one sick. But what we felt during the course of this research study, that empathy and compassion, they are not enough unless there is selfless action, charity, sacred charity, selfless action in terms of its tangibility or intangibility. Nature, accelerating charm of the nature. Who is the painter? Who is the poet? Who is the philosopher? Who is the thinker? Have we ever thought about that? We must relate it to it and have gratitude for it, for such blessings. Who has painted this? ये कौन चित्रकार है? ये किस कवि की कल्पना का चमत्कार है? ये कौन चित्रकार है? ये कौन चित्रकार है? Prayer is an act of thanksgiving. Prayer is an act when you seek blessings from the divine. But in this scale, SHS, there is a huge difference between prayer and faith. Faith we have captured at the highest domain of spiritual health in this scale, that's transcendence. Because faith is operationally defined in our study as considering yourself as the part of the spring. Quoting Swami Vivekananda that every soul is potentially divine. So that means faith here goes deeper and probably with our every heartbeat. Prayer relatively is at a superficial level for this particular scale I'm talking of. Yoga, I don't need to talk about yoga, but certainly as a researcher, I want to put it forth that yoga needs in-depth research. Yoga, which of course includes meditation, because normally yoga is taken for asana and pranayama. Sage Patanjali's eight limbs, all the 8 limbs of yoga need in-depth research. Though we have captured it in our scale, but at a superficial level, I must confess that. This is our SHS at a glance. 3 domains, 6 constructs, 27 determinants, 114 items. Everything is corroborating to the other. Constructs are corroborating to domains, determinant summation, constructs, 114 items. This is the scale, and this is the scoring key, 114 items are on the scale. आपके लिए बरखा बहार लाई हूँ, बरखा बहार रस की फुहार लाई, अखियों में प्यार लाई, the take-home message for all of you, for all the distinguished professionals. राही तू मत रुक जाना, तूफान से मत घबराना, कभी तो मिलेगी, कहीं तो मिलेगी. आगे क्या है?
Session, Dr. N.K. Gupta.